This video can be enjoyed one of two ways. The first is to watch it on mute while listening to the Beatles' A Day in the Life, which I've provided a link below. Just open a separate browser tab for the Beatles video, then click play on both of the videos from the beginning. It doesn't matter which you click first, the video should sync either way. The second way to enjoy this video is by listening to this commentary if you don't have time to watch the original documentary, A Day in the Life of a Dictator, which I've also linked below. I highly recommend watching it while it's still available on YouTube, though it can be quite disturbing to sit through all of it considering it's about three of humanity's most brutal dictators, Joseph Stalin of the Soviet Union, Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, and Idi Amin of Uganda. Yet as a history and sociology buff, this is one of the greatest documentaries I've ever seen on the subject of dictatorships, which I would argue is not just one of humanity's biggest problems, it is its biggest problem. Because even considering man-made climate change, which supposedly could wipe out all of humanity, much of climate change is largely driven by dictatorships such as China's and Russia's. And given the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, it's not like the United Nations is going to stop either of these regimes anytime soon. And regarding society's other ongoing wars, genocides, abject poverty, human rights abuses that makes economic inequality pale in comparison, and the mass migration by millions desperately fleeing such conditions, those problems are usually caused by dictatorships. Yet too many people are oblivious and even indifferent to the unimaginable level of murderous, sadistic psychopathy that certain people are capable of, especially psychopaths hell-bent on absolute power, which this documentary does a remarkable job of documenting by analyzing the lives of these three despots. Because it's not simply that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's that people who seek power are usually corrupt to begin with. Dictators are not victims of circumstance. They're not exactly forced into tyranny or communism, as has been written about dictators like Fidel Castro or Robert Mugabe. Dictators know very well what they're doing, particularly when it comes to brutally eliminating political opponents. Having grown up in a family that fled a communist dictatorship, I'm painfully aware of the extent of power a small group of people can have to negatively affect the lives of millions of others, and how some dictatorships can last for generations, where power is handed down like a dynasty, as it has been in North Korea or Cuba where my family's from. What's just as frightening is how many people underestimate the irreparable destruction dictatorships have on their nations and the world at large. It's exceptionally frightening how supposed intellectuals and academics grossly underestimate the level of devastation unleashed by dictatorships on their own people. Which is why it's troubling how many prominent influencers who criticize the imperialism of the United States or the West in general somehow make excuses for communist dictatorships, and even right-wing capitalist dictatorships such as Vladimir Putin's in Russia nowadays. And it's not just the useful idiots on the left, but apparently many on the right who legitimize dictatorships. Political pundits like Tucker Carlson, who've practically excused Putin's invasion of Ukraine by blaming it squarely on NATO and Ukraine's president Volodymyr Zelensky. Tucker Carlson has even stated that too many people on the left hate Putin because he's white, Christian, anti-LGBT, and because he believes in his nation's destiny. This is how dictatorships manage to disinform through narratives and distort how millions of people view reality, especially those who know how to create a cult of personality. How they can convince millions to die for them, though they would never return the favor. It's almost cruel how unequally we've evolved as human beings, not only due to these circumstances of our births regarding the when, where, and whom we're born to, but the vastly diverging levels of intelligence and ambition. Notably the fact that some of us are born as psychopaths, and those who are and happen to be as ambitious as they are sadistic, the world can be their oyster given the collective fear, apathy, and inevitable ignorance of the masses. This is why the death of one man is a tragedy, but the deaths of millions is a statistic. That quote has been attributed to Joseph Stalin, though there's no proof he ever said it. But if he did, he was likely quoting a 1932 essay by Kurt Tucholsky, a German journalist. Though dictatorships can almost be seen as a natural, almost biological phenomenon that happens among societies, usually due to a combination of factors that are beyond any one person's control, dictatorships are not inevitable either. They can be brought to an end, but more importantly, they can be avoided in the first place. And that's the ultimate irony about freedom. It isn't free. Yet most people take freedom for granted until it's too late. when what was once inconceivable oppression is just another day in the life. If I got anything wrong in this video, please let me know in the comments below. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.